Check, check. All right, welcome back to anyone that might be joining me from the last stream. As promised, we are now with our TBM850 still at Paderborn Airport in Germany for the next leg of our journey up towards Finland. One of the more northern airports available to us in Flight Simulator, at least of the handcrafted ones. I was thinking of actually taking the Bonanza. I haven't flown that in ages, but I thought we need to save some time here. We're not even anywhere near Finland right now. So, you know, like I said, don't have all day. And I'd really like to get to our final destination. So let's hop right in. So as you can see, we've already removed the chocks. Someone forgot the ladder up. Actually, I just closed the door briefly for a screenshot and forgot to drop the ladder again. So just to show you what she looks like, all chalked up. Actually sounds kind of dirty saying it that way. Before we fly, I thought that I would include the flight planning process, or at least part of it, in the video for anyone that might be curious as to how I generally do it. Let's just make sure I have the correct window open here. Let's see if I can get it for you. Let's see. Windows capture. This doesn't seem to be the one I'm looking for here. Ah, here we go. This should be this guy. It's not working. Okie dokie. I think if I do this, okay, I think it will work. Now, if I change, I'll just bring the screen up a little bit bigger here for you. All right, you should be able to see the Navigraph window. I just want to see if I change it to the flight planning one, does it change? Okay, good. All right, so this is Navigraph. This is the online version. You do have an app that you can download. Unfortunately, none of it's for free. But for someone who, you know, takes his simming seriously, this is, I don't know, it's like, to say it's recommended is an understatement. But just quickly, as you can see, our origin is going to be Paderborn. Our destination is going to be Hamburg. That's put in there. It's got quite a handy little sort of vector diagram, so to speak, of the winds that are currently present at each airport. Beautiful weather all around. It's quite nice. We have a departure that we'll be flying. So we'll be flying the WRB 1 Whiskey departure here out of Paderborn, which will take us to the Warburg VOR. And we follow these airways up to Nolgo, where the Nolgo to Delta arrival will be flown, putting us nicely on a downwind, sort of an extended downwind base, and then final approach for the ILS runway 15. I've chosen runway 15. I mean, it's the one with the biggest headwind, but apart from that, it brings us right to the general aviation hangar here. So we'll hope to vacate via Gulf and taxi to the GA apron. That's the plan. That's the plan. That's the plan. So then you go to the VATSIM, because we'll be flying online as usual, and we'll file the flight plan. So we are going to be flying a Swiss registered TBM, Hotel Bravo, Kilo Oscar Romeo. It will be IFR this time, whereas the previous flight plan was VFR. We are flying the TBM850, which is TBM8. We are obviously going to be a light aircraft, less than 7 tons, if I'm not mistaken, pretty sure. Equipment, I think we use the ICAO one. We can put G for GPS. That will be a primary means of navigation today. We will have a mode C transponder as far as I'm aware. And normally what I do for the rest of it is I copy this part of the routing here up top and put in here as reference. So departure will be EDLP. Arrival will be EDDH. Off the block, so up here you have the UTC just at the top of the page. So we'll aim for about a 7 UTC departure time. Now, I didn't actually work out what altitude we'll be flying at. It's about 161 miles. You can see most of these airways. This is a low. Ooh, I chose a low. Okay, it's still valid as a high airway, so at least until Norta. Either way, yeah, it seems like the lowest altitude allowable, if I'm not mistaken, is flight level 50. So, and what's it now? It's going to be 161. It's going to be a pretty quick flight. I don't want to get too high. Let's make it like, I want to say 16,000. We'll do 16,000. Alright, so we'll do 16,000. I think we'll average about 250 true. I don't know. Doesn't really matter, to be honest. Alternate. Let's see. Where would we be keen on flying to as an alternate airport? You preferably still wanted to be in Germany. Let's go to the world map here. I don't know why the flight simulator keeps jumping. Alright, what's this? Bremen? No, definitely not Bremen. Let's see if we can just find something that looks familiar. Here, Berlin. There we go. EDDB, as a last resort. En route time, I think we can make it like, let's look at 45-ish minutes. We'll aim for about a 2.5 hour endurance. And here you just get rid of the departure destination because we've already placed those in their respective fields. You can include the departure and arrival procedures, although those are obviously subject to change, and I normally just indicate whether or not I have charts with me. That's pretty much it. We'll just double check. Call sign is correct. IFR, TBM, light, GC, EDW, EDDH, 0700, giving us about 15 minutes to get airborne. Berlin's our alternate. I don't know about this altitude, man. I feel like we could probably do 20,000. Then again, we don't want to really be interfering with the heavies, but they'll be flying at a higher altitude. Screw it. Let's keep it at, let's do 18,000. All right, 18,000. And you just hit the file flight plan button. Sometimes it doesn't register, so I just do 2 for good measure. That's pretty much it. So let's get the aircraft set up here. We'll put the trucks back. Let's get the passengers in here. We'll say it'll just be, let's see, 80, 75. We'll have a third rider with us today. And the rear baggage will have, say, 30 and 15 in the front. That should be it. So we'll have about 3/4-ish And where does that put us? So max takeoff is 3.3. We're at 3.1. So just about, you know, full up on the weight here. That keychain there closes the, I guess, the cheek door. And then you hold that button down and it brings the rest of the door down. I want to make sure these all turn green to indicate that the door has properly closed. All right, I think we're ready to go. Right, we'll just double check. Everything has been such a gorgeous aircraft, this, man. Well done, Black Square. Oh, love this aircraft. Beautiful livery as well. I mean, look at the exhaust staining, the white paint there. I mean, does it get any better than that? Again, you want to check these circles out. Make sure they all change to green. Just how quiet it is now. Okie dokie. Did I configure my controls? No, I did not. Isn't that great? Hope, did I actually turn my sound on? Yeah, I did. Whew, that would have been really bad. So I just normally go for yoke only. And this will be a constant speed, wherever that's hiding. There it is. There we go. So that goes to full forward. That's sort of like the idle. I have to say, with the latest Black Square aircraft, the Duke, which I hope to be flying in Finland later, I like how there's a bit of a dead space or a dead zone for the idle detent. I hope they add that to the TBM in future. Righty then. Parking brake is on, and I think we can just go right ahead and start up here. Yeah. So, crash bar up, battery on. You want to just make sure that we have at least 24 volts. We have almost 25. You can see the amp meter showing that we are draining the battery slightly. We'll just check the... I generally don't use checklists, so, I mean, for the smaller light aircraft. So excuse me if I do miss something. The lighter aircraft tend to be a little bit more forgivable when it comes to not using checklists. So, y'all. All right, I think that's pretty much it. We can get started here. Yeah, no beacon on this thing for some reason. So the nav light come on. Kind of indicate to people. And I mean, the electronics of this thing has been simulated so well. I think you might even see the amp. Yeah, the amps actually change a little bit as they, as you know, bring more load onto the battery here. Okay, anyways, I think it's just basically fuel pump, starter ignition, and wait for 15, I think 17%. So fuel pump on. We've got pressure. We are selected onto a fuel tank. And we'll go ahead and start. Just check how much power this draws from the battery. Ignition can go to auto. And we'll just wait for about 15 or 17%. I think it's 15% TBM. There is 15-ish. There's 15. Bring it to low idle. Got light off, watching that ITT. I forgot to actually test the ITT gauge, but it looks like it's working at least. Staying below the red line. And waiting for 50% on the NG there. Turn off the starter. Starter off. Ignition to auto. Boost pump to auto. And we can turn on the generator. So we should see the amps jump into the positive and the voltage of the battery go to a full 28, I think. So generator on, positive, and okay, it's not going to go all the way to 28, but it's almost there. It's in the green. That's all that matters. I can turn on all our gyros, avionics. You'll see our instrumentation coming alive. Love this. Check the vibrating yokes. All right, inertial separator can come on. That stays on standby. We're just going to wait for the GPS scan. When I fly IFR, I like to put 2200 in as a indication that we are sort of an uncontrolled IFR aircraft. I'm going to go straight to, I think it was 180 we said, right? So this was the little button I needed to push just to test out this gauge before we started the engine. So while that goes, or gets going, we can test the other systems of the aircraft. I think there's an alarm. Yeah. A horn test up there. We can test the terrain system here.
Sink rates. Sink rates. Don't sink. 500. TAWS system test. Okay.
And then we test the autopilot. I think that actually disables the GPWS for some reason. So we test the autopilot there. While that does its thing, we can also put the weather radar into test. Actually works in the game. I don't know how well, but it looks really convincing. Bring it back to standby. Once again, we're just going to test our radios to make sure everything's plugged in correctly here on my side. And check. Yep. Back down to 1228. So this is the general, sort of, we call it Unicom here on VATSIM, just the general broadcasting frequency. And this is sort of the emergency calling frequency. Okie dokie, so now we actually have to input our flight plan. Oh, I have not. Did I disable it? I forgot to disable the browser, but it looks like it did it on its own. I don't know how much you got of the flight plan then. But yeah, anyways. My apologies if the flight plan disappeared halfway through all of that. Where are we now? Checking my sound. Alright. So, I need to call that up here on my tablet so that I can pop in the flight plan. I don't know how to do this officially, but this works the best for me. You put in the destination first. And then you can go and pop in the departure. So it's going to be the WRB something. WRB 1 whiskey, there it is. Runway 24, that's correct, and we load that into the flight plan. And we go here, and we're just going to put each waypoint in. It's rather time consuming. So bear with me. Norta. You can use the keyboard for this, but that's cheating. In real life, you'd have to be sitting here scrolling till the end of days here. It also gives an opportunity for the engine to warm up. Wait, what are we doing? Norta. What are you doing here, bro? Norta. There we go. Germany, yes. There's apparently one in Thailand as well. Next one will be SAS. Which might be the airline that we will fly up into Finland in. SAS. I think we might actually go to Copenhagen first, then we'll take the 146 into Finland. Or, we'll see. Still want to get the F-28 as well. Then we got Mador or Mador, L-M-A-D. I do have the GTN 750, but I reserve that for the PC-12, as I consider that the more fancier, sort of like the upgraded version of this aircraft, although I will say that the reality is that this is from a black square product compared to the PC12 from SimWorks Studio. This is a far superior product. I don't actually even know. I can't remember the price difference. But there's no competition, man. Like I really hate to, you know, throw shade on SimWorks Studio, because I was a big fan of their what do you call that aircraft again? Kodiak. But I feel like they really dropped the ball with the PC12. It's I guess it's, you know, I'm a little butthurt by it, because it's like I'm very sort of attached to the PC12. One of my favorite or all-time favorite aircraft. So it really sucks that you know, I felt like they could have done a lot better. Anyways, that's for another video. Hint, hint. Okay, so the trims are set. So I set the rudder trim to take off there. Everything else is in the green. The flaps we can bring down a takeoff in the meantime, and make sure that, again, once again, that our flight controls are mapped correctly. Elevators, rudders. And I believe we are G to G. Someone texted on the... There we go, that's a nice text. It's a bit long-winded, but it's at least saying where they are and what they're doing. It's Frankfurt, so not our concern. So let's go down to the ECS system here. This is our pressurization system. Like we said, going at 18,000 plus 1,000 just as a safety buffer. We're going to go ahead and turn the bleed on the auto. Fan only for the AC for now, because it's a pleasant, although cool, 16 degrees inside the cabin right now. Yeah, so we can turn on the auto selector for the fuel. You can actually tell it to shift to the other tank for now, and that's pretty much it. Parking brake, pitot, stall, inertia separator, that all gets taken care of later. One thing I do use the checklist for this aircraft is the run-up, and we will do that once we get closer to the runway. We're going to release the parking brake and give a shout out to anyone that might be in the area. Just recall up this checklist of mine quickly, and also the chart, the airport chart. So it's going to be runway 24. Paderborn traffic, TBM Hotel Bravo, Kilo Oscar Romeo, main apron, taxi 2 holding short runway 24, Paderborn traffic. Alright, so that tells people in the area what we're doing, where we are, even though we're on the ground. Let's increase. Ooh, that sounds neat. Look at this aircraft, man. I'll get enough. Take a right and then a left. Some people like to actually specify the taxiways that they're going to be using, but I feel like that's neither here nor there, especially if there's no one at the airport. I just like being, I know, you know, I love being realistic. You know, it's part of what I enjoy about flight simulation, but you know, I also like to be practical. All right, so let's get the airport elevation in here. And I like to set the little altimeter bug here to the airport elevation, so in case we do lose the radio altimeter for some reason, or for quicker reference, we can just look at the altimeter. So trims are set, flaps are set, radios are set. Come on, why are we slowing down? Let's go, let's go. We got places to be. A bit of an uphill, I think. So we're going to take this intersection takeoff here. Or we're going to use this intersection to take off from. Let's just slow it down. Also because it's kind of facing away from the main taxiway, allowing me to actually do my run up here without bothering anyone. So just like that. There we go. Brakes are set. And we're going to go ahead and do our run up. So if I call up the checklist here, oh dear, I've lost the checklist. Oh, here it is, okay. Before takeoff, engine, before starting. Where is the run up after starting engine? Before takeoff. Oh, it doesn't have a separate checklist. It's part of the before takeoff checks. Okay, so it's 1,900 RPM. Here we go. Bring the engine up to 1,900 RPM. So there's the prop gauge in front of us. Do this gradually. You don't want the RPM to overshoot. Look at the VSI needle jump around with the airflow coming from the prop wash. That's awesome. That's about 1,900, and there's a governor switch here that we need to press. Where is it? This guy? Yeah. You see. Jumps down to about 1,800. Release. And we want to exercise the propeller. Sounds amazing. And then we bring the RPM down to 1,800. This is just to test the ability of the governor to hold the requested or desired RPM. So there it is, 1,800-ish. There we go. It looks like it's stable and holding. We want to just check for the other gauges here to make sure everything's in the green, especially the oil temperature and the pressure. Come back to full RPM, and we're going to cut the power back to idle. AP Master can come on. I think that's pretty much it. So we're just going to put that to Alt. 233, it's already set. And we're gonna go ahead and turn on our landing lights. Effects lights can come off, strobes, we can pulse the landing lights. And yeah, the pitot heats come on. It leaves the inertial separator, which will turn on after takeoff, turn off rather. Alright, so condition lever full. Forward. Paderborn traffic, TBM Hotel Bravo, Kilo Oscar Romeo, lining up departing runway 24, Paderborn traffic. Alright, so can't really see very well, but it doesn't look like anyone's coming or going. Looks like we do have enough runway. We're just going to do a run-on takeoff here. Power set. About 90 knots. There she is. Rotate. And we're off. Tap the brakes. Gear up. And yaw damper coming on. Climb out at about 130-ish. Back into the outside view. Alright, gear is up. Bring the flaps up. And then we can also bring this over the gate to 850 mode and bring the inertial separators closed, and we can just monitor the torque. That's going to increase now. Alright, so we're still on course. Torque's increasing over 100%, which is fine for the TBM. This shouldn't go over 120. Okay, it looks like it's stabilizing at about 110. Neutral separators should be in. Your arm for flight level 180. Hope you guys can still hear me. And turn the air conditioning on for the rest of the flight. So I'm going to come and just bring the prop RPM down just below the red line. I also want to check the torque gauge to make sure we don't over torque the engine while we do that. Starting our left turn as we make our way along whatever that departure was. Here's the airport that we just took off from. Let's just double check to make sure that the aircraft is properly cleaned up, configured for flight. I'll also probably bring the rudder back to center here. See, we're not performing a balanced turn. So rudder drum back. Flaps up, gear up, all that good stuff. Go ahead and turn on the weather radar. Some nasty clouds up ahead, but we should miss them because we're going to be turning more left shortly. There we go. We're going to be climbing too fast. You can technically outclimb your pressurization system. Already climbed to 3,000 and it's almost at 2,000 already, so it should be fine. Synchronizer heading bug there. We've got a nice tailwind, about 20 knots. And we are still on course. Might want to make myself some coffee, but I think we'll wait for after this flight. Still doing alright with timing, I think. Should be able to get above those clouds by the time we reach them. Let's just cycle through to the TCAS system for this aircraft. And we're all set. I think they're a little bit softer for me. So we are VSing it, vertical speed hold, which can potentially be a dangerous mode if you don't keep an eye on it. It targets a specific rate of ascent or descent. Currently we're ascending at 1,800 feet per minute. That's what I set. You can see it's about what the autopilot is holding the aircraft at. This allows me to work out how long it will take me to climb to our intended cruise altitude. Go to 1013 there. But as it holds this vertical speed, it doesn't, you know, consider how fast you're flying, right? So what the power setting of the engines are, or is. So as you get into thinner air and you're going to need more power from the engine to keep up this 1,800 foot rate of ascent. If you're not increasing the engine power, or you have no more power left, the speed is going to start to drop, and then it's going to raise the nose higher to compensate for the drop in lift that results from a decrease in airspeed, and it will continue doing that until you eventually run out of airspeed and stall. So potentially dangerous mode to get around that. So 140 is a good sort of speed to be climbing at. We go to IS hold. This then will target whatever airspeed I was at. So instead of targeting vertical speed, it targets airspeed, and it will adjust the rate of ascent to ensure that we keep flying at that speed or whatever power setting we have for the engine. As you can see, there's actually a layer of ice on the windshield now. It's getting quite cold. Climate control is still working good. It's -9 degrees out there. We luckily remembered to put the pitot heat on. Up, and just like it, just as soon as it came, it went. So we continue up to 18,000 feet. We have QNH 1013, which is a standard altimeter setting for when you're flying above the transition altitude. Everything's looking good. Pressurization, so aircraft is just about 2,500 feet. It's stopped climbing inside the aircraft. That means the pressurization system is no longer sort of changing the pressure inside the aircraft. Now what we'll see is, so this altitude needle won't move anymore. Only this PSI needle, which is the differential, the difference in air pressure between the air inside and the air outside the aircraft. I just want to double check that we don't have any ice actually building up on the leading edges of the wings. If there were, we could activate the de-icing boots, so this sort of rubber lining. We've got little, I guess you call them like air veins running through them, and they can inflate to take bleed air from the engine, air that's coming into the engine. We could redirect that through these de-icing boots. They expand and break off any ice that might accumulate on the wing, because ice is bad, especially on the wing. Wings are able to generate lift because of their very special shape that they have, and ice that accumulates on the wing can basically change the shape of the wing. They're modifying the shape of the wing, and if the wing does not retain its shape, it's not going to be able to generate lift as effectively anymore. It looks like we're going through some more icy weather over here. I think it's because there's quite a bit of moisture in the air here with all these clouds, but it comes and goes. As you can see, it's already starting to drop away. We can turn on the window heats. But yeah, we don't see any ice building up in the wing. I should therefore not really have to worry about any de-icing, at least as far as the wings are concerned. So we're leveling off now. Didn't make any changes to the power yet. I'm going to go back to about 100 on the torque there to make room for the increase in torque that will happen as I bring the propeller back to about, I like having it about 1,800 RPM. So watch the torque gauge as I bring the RPM back. So to pull off a slower RPM, the blades are actually being, the angle of the blades are being adjusted. They're being made more steeper. Is they're sort of hitting the air sort of more head on, you know, with a bigger profile, and that puts more resistance on the blades, and that means more engine power is needed to keep the blades turning, and that's why when we steepen the angle of the propeller blades to bring the RPM down, there will be an associated increase in the torque required to keep the blades spinning at the given power setting. So yeah, I think we're good. We can go up to about 110, back up to 110. There is a cruise power setting table in the manual, but this is going to be a short flight, so we'll just make sure everything's in the green, which they are, right? So torque, an indication of the force that it's taking to spin the propeller. Propeller RPM, that's self-explanatory. NG is the is it right to call it the N1? I don't think there's an N2 for this, but it's basically the compressor's the speed or the RPM of the compressor stage of the turbine in a percentage. So here we actually have for the RPM an actual numerical value of revolutions per minute. The blades are spinning at 1,900 RPM. The compressor blades inside a turbine are spinning much faster than that. So instead of, you know, using revolutions per minute. We just use percentage of the allowable RPM for that part of the engine. And down here is the ITT, the internal turbine temperature. So again, self-explanatory. The turbine inside the engine, basically the temperature inside the engine, basically, keeping that in the green, obviously, would be a good thing. And then, of course, as with pretty much any other aircraft out there with a powered flight or with an engine, you've got engine oil and temperature, oil pressure, temperature pressure gauges. Important to keep an eye out on those. So as I've mentioned, we are currently at 18,000 feet, our cruise altitude, coincidentally keeping well clear of the nasty clouds out there. Just jump back to our flight plan page here to make sure that we are still maintaining the correct course. So there's Norta. Keep this on the TCAS just for extra collision avoidance awareness. Yeah, that's pretty much it, right? So double check the pressurization system. The differential should be above the red, and the altimeter should be more or less where we set it. So we set it around just under 3, and we are kind of just under 3 there, so that's good as well. Cabin temperature is 22 degrees. We can increase the temperature if we want to. I think that's a pleasant temperature. Transponders still on alt. Our radio frequencies are where we left them. We are otherwise all set for the cruise. Excuse me. Nice little stretch. Currently flying at what ground speed? Oof, nice. 327 with a hefty 50-knot tailwind, so we are flying a lot faster than anticipated. We can actually start planning our arrival. We'll just quickly check to see if there is any air traffic control online for us. There isn't, because everyone else is at work. Above 10,000, we would turn those off. Right, so that was, I think, Norta, right? Yeah. We have to SAS next, so actually, yeah, we're still, that's only our second waypoint. So we still have a ways to go. Cumulatively, we've got about 100 miles still to go. We're flying at about 300 knots. So that's a third of that. A third of 60 minutes is what? 20. So we've got about 20 minutes of flying time. We'll say just over because it's going to take us time to do the approach and whatnot. So about half an hour of flying left. I think I'm going to make that coffee. So please excuse me while I go and make myself a cup of coffee. I will be back shortly. Please enjoy this GoPro-like view of the clouds ahead of us. BRB. Got my coffee. You can see we got some precipitation showing up on our weather radar as we approach Mador. Really coincidentally sidestepping all these big clouds. Could have actually flown a bit higher, but Got NextRad information over there as well. So this is sort of like a satellite download of weather. So this is not necessarily live, this is more just a snapshot, whereas this would be live. This is an actual radar return, whereas this is literally just downloaded from a website, so to speak, and populated into the GPS. Alright, I gotta figure out what would be a good time to start descending here. Let's load our... Still runway 15 is like perfectly suited for the wind, so we're going to continue with runway 15. We'll load the approach in. This is the Nolgo 2 Delta arrival. Let's pop in the approach first, I think it likes that. As we ILS runway 15 will be via 457, EH 457. Load that in, get the arrival in. As we said, it's going to be the Nolgo 2 Delta. There we go, runway 15 and load. So, Nolgo. According to this thing, we need to be between 11,000 and 4,000 feet. So we're going to go to the VNav calculator here and put in, let's make it 10,000 feet. Well, let's put it a little bit lower actually. Let's make it 9,000. And with 0 offset, Nolgo. I want to send at about 1,500. So there we go. Perfect timing. In about 2 minutes, we can start our descent to Nolgo. We'll aim for about 9,000 feet. Excuse me as I take some sips from my coffee here. Alright, so we started our descent. These clouds up ahead of us look like they might be quite turbulent. In Flight Simulator, they're not really. I don't think there's associated turbulence with clouds, but I mean, again, try and be realistic here. I come way back on the power. We're at 110 torque, we're at about 60 now. I'd like to come even further back, but I don't know if we have to actually keep and maintain a certain N1 to keep the pressurization going, or NG rather. So I'm going to keep the NG at the bottom of the green and hope that the 200 knots that we're flying at right now is going to be enough to cushion us. Ooh, actually, that's looking like some really bad weather there. Let's just quickly check our charts here to see what would be best to jump to the right or to the left. All right, sorry for the radio silence. That was a good cup of coffee. So we're just going to increase our rate of descent in case this yellow is this, but I think we're going to be under most of that. So let's just increase our rate of descent, bring the power back a little bit so we do not overspeed the aircraft. So anyone that might have been wondering what that is where the weather radar sits. That's what's giving us the imagery here. Let's go a little bit lower than 8,000 to get under this weather. We can go as low as 4, so let's go down to 6. Should get us low enough to be under this cloud. We didn't actually adjust our pressurization system, so the elevation of the airport is 50 feet, so it's basically sea level. So I'll leave it there. It's not too late. We haven't caught up to the altitude that the aircraft was set at, so we're about 2,000 feet inside the airplane, 7,000 outside. Should be more than enough time for it to depressurize. You can see it's significant. This looks like a whole wall of rain here in front of us. Let's slow down our rate of descent here for the autopilot. I'd have to do a very aggressive pull-up. So what happened here was, to get back on course, I just went direct to Nolgo, which is our arrival routing. Let's see if we can get that to show for you guys. That's going to be a challenge. Let's see if I can do it without wasting too much time. Epigraph. Alright, we're leveling off. I want to maintain about 180 knots. Should be sort of good enough for a safe speed to be penetrating this weather with, let's see, IFR high, IFR low. Get this visible for you here quickly. Alright, so we're now flying, we just passed off over Nolgo, right, which is this waypoint over here. We're now officially on the arrival route, which the chart looks as follows. Could just basically be above 4,000 and under 220 for the majority, well, for all of it actually. And that's the routing that we'll be flying. Right, looks like quite a bit of rain here off the nose of the aircraft. If it gets really heavy, it does help apparently to get the inertial separator open, or closed rather, or going. Turn off the windshield heating. I feel like we're quite nose up. We actually go ahead and turn on our recog lights just to make us a little bit more visible for everyone. Oh, there's quite a bit of a weather system here over the airport. You can see there's someone beneath us that's just climbed. Let's get the... I don't know why we didn't see him on the TCAS here. So we'll just announce ourselves. Should have done it when we were over Nolgo. So Hamburg traffic, TBM Hotel Bravo Kilo Oscar Romeo overhead Nolgo, 6,000 feet on the 2 Delta arrival for runway 15 Hamburg. Alright, so that'll at least let this guy know where we are. He's flying away from us. It's good that I chose this arrival because the other one takes you on the side that this guy's flying. Yep, there we go. Oh man, look at that. We're actually in rain. It looked like rain and it actually is rain. For a flight simulator, that is just so cool. You can even hear the rain. Increase the power here a little bit to keep up 180 knots. Just said we don't have all day. I mean, according to the weather report, it's still VFR. Just with some rain, some thunderstorms in the area. So like I said, this is a snapshot. This isn't live, this weather. But, I mean, we just got to keep an eye on things. As you can see, there's a bit of precip there off our left side. That's like some heavy rain here in front of us. Got a little bit of rainbow even. Man, this simulator, when it's working, it's working. It looks amazing. Alright, we're still on autopilot, obviously. Just check the fuel, pressures, temperatures. They're all still looking good. The inertial separator's open already. We'll not have to worry about that when we get to the landing phase. Let's get the ILS chart up here. So we're ready for that. Oh, we should actually put the local QNH in here, so that was my bad. Luckily, it's only a difference of not even 100 feet. Autopilot will correct for that. There we go. Back into the rain. This is why we file IFR flight plans, so that if we do get into IFR weather, we don't have to worry. Got the panel light on here for some ambience, We're starting our turn left for the downwind leg. Hamburg VOR is 1131. Put that in both of our radios here, so we can see where we are in relation to it, keeping in mind that that is not actually located at the airport. Oh, we do have a VOR at the airport. It's 1158. That should be located at the airport. We're anyways going to put in the ILS frequency 10955 is ready there on standby. We go and put that in because why not? And we are downwind. Hamburg traffic, TBM Hotel Bravo Kilo Oscar Romeo is on a left downwind runway 15, 6,000 feet on the arrival. Hamburg traffic. I couldn't remember. I'll go to Delta arrival. We're going to be at 3,000 feet for the final approach. Got enough time for that to be a thing. So cool. So 10955, 150 on the heading, which will be automatically set when we reach the ILS. And the decision height, I never remember what category I am. So I downloaded something that gives me the aircraft category. I don't know how accurate it is, but we've got A through E. Range of speed for initial approach for this aircraft would be 90-ish knots, so that would be a Category A aircraft. And according to the chart, Cat A and B should have a decision height of 200. So that's just testing that. DH of 200 is set by default. Yeah. Just like this thing indicates there's a weather system right over the airport. I think we're low enough on the final approach so it won't be a problem for us. Actually, we can cut this short. I have to fly the entire arrival. So coming back on the power here, we'll go back down to, let's say, 40% on the torque. And let's drop to 3,000. BS hold. It's about 3 minutes. So we're out of the rain now. And the final approach fix is, I believe, it's DVOD. To be max 170 we're going to reach there. So yeah, there's DVOD. We're actually crossing it now, so that would be where we start the final descent on the final approach path. Oh, it's so beautiful. I think this is the weather that's going to meet us in Finland. I can't wait to get to that airport up there. How are we doing with time here? It's now, what, 10, 11 local, so yeah, we're going to need to start pushing for time. Okay, I think we can start now at 412. We can start our I think we can start a descent onto our base leg after 412. Let's slow this down a bit. So everything else is set. Pressurization, inertial separator, piezo heats, everything stay on line. I think we're good. I start setting this to the base leg. So we'll manually fly this one, put it at a 90-degree angle, and hit heading. We'll turn onto our base leg. 1,000 feet to go. According to the weather, the QNH is 1011. 1011 set. On our base leg, I don't see anyone for Hamburg rather. So I think we're good. So this should go to roll mode. There it goes. So we're going to set this to an intercept. So it's runway, what, 15 minus about 30, or at about 30 rather. So it's 180. Yeah, should be good enough for us to turn in now. And we're going to go over to the ILS here. So go to lock. And this needs to be set to 1. I thought it sets it for us, but anyways, 150. There we go. It's set 10955. We're going to hit the nav hold button. That's going to arm the nav, which will arm the localizer essentially. Keep an eye out on the speed here. We're at 140 knots. Let's keep it to that. May have turned it a little bit too early. Wait, why is my altitude set to this? How did we get to 2,700? What happened there? Oh, well, that's okay. We're a few hundred short. It's fine. Like I said, I turned in a little bit early, so this actually works out for us. I somehow accidentally scrolled to 2,800, so it's fine. This will give us some time to catch the localizer before we hit the glide slope. We're visual now anyways. It's no longer an instrument approach required for this landing, although, as you can see, it might be required. Although I think the airport's clear of the weather. So we should be good. Can't even see the airport yet. And according to this, you can see the weather is on either side of the airport, so we might be able to continue down visually. Why is my left tank so low? Let's go over to the right, like now, and we'll turn off the automatics. We'll work off the right tank from now, empty out that tank a little bit. Are we gonna capture this thing? Nav is armed. Glide slope is already alive. There we go, we got it. Perfect timing. Luckily we were 200 feet short of the final approach altitude there. Alright, so we're 1 dot above. We're gonna go with the approach hold. Captured the localizer. We're now in line with the center of the runway, waiting for the glide slope to be captured. That's that GS over there. That's the descent path down to the runway. There you can see we're starting our descent down to the runway. Bring back the power a little bit. So we are 8 miles out, so start configuring the aircraft for landing here. Yeah, it's definitely, I mean, look, I can barely see the airport. It's good that we're flying IFR here. That's because I brought the power way back to idle and we don't have the gear out yet, so we can bring we can wait till 5 miles to bring the wheels out. Under 140, I think we can bring flaps to 10. We'll aim about, I think we'll aim for about 130 for the speed. Getting some rain again. Alright, we're gonna call Hamburg traffic, TBM Hotel Bravo, Kilo Oscar Romeo, final approach runway 15. Hamburg traffic. Alright, so 6 miles out. So unlike an airliner where at this point you'd want to be fully configured for the landing. It's kind of overkill to do so in a light aircraft this far out, because you're going to have to reduce speed to your approach speed, which relative to an airliner is very slow. So if you're going to be doing that more than 5 miles out, I think you're going to be holding up traffic. That's a good chance you would. Alright, so the missed approach altitude here is 4,000. So we're going to set that. 4,000 set. We're going to sync the heading bug there. Everything else looks like it's set for landing. We are now under 5 miles. Let's go ahead, bring the wheels down, wait for those 3 green lights. You should see that our speed drops. The extra drag. You can hear the turbulent airflow outside the aircraft. 3 green, gear is down. I'm going to bring the prop to full forward position. This is in case we need to do a go around. We're in the white arc of the airspeed, so we can bring the last bit of flaps down. We're going to aim for about 90 knots, 95. And I'm going to call up the airport diagram here so we can see what we're going to have to do once we land. Alright, that's it. Gear is down, flaps are down. Inertial separators on the fuel pumps, on auto. Lights are as they should be. Bring the taxi light on because the wheels down. We are clear to land because we don't see anyone on the runway. We didn't hear anyone on the radio frequency. Alright, so I'm going to disconnect the autopilot here. 500 feet, 200 is our decision height. We can already see the runway. I might land long because we're going to be vacating right at the end. Getting a bit low here, so yeah, let's get a little bit higher. You're going to see those 3 red lights turn to white as we extend our approach here to land around about sort of the middle of the runway. Alright, yeah, so like we said, gear down, flaps down, all that other good stuff, so we should be ready to go. And if I look, it's literally the last taxiway. Oh, take your eyes off the road for 1 second. Last taxiway, end of the runway, so yeah, 200 feet. That's our decision height. We can see the runway. We're stable on the approach now, so we'll continue with the landing. It would be at that point where we would have to abort the approach if we didn't see the runway. How is this VFR? I guess it is, technically. You can still see quite far. Coming in here. A shallow descent because we want to go all the way down to the end of the runway. Might still be a little bit early to touch down here. Alright, that's touchdown. So bring the power back. And flare. Keep the nose up. Wait for those wheels to touch down. There we go. We're down.
Smooth one. That's what people pay for.
And we're going to bring the power lever basically just in the feather, the beta range. Okay, actually we're going to keep it in the idle because we need to get to the bottom of the runway here. The end of the runway, rather. That's it, man. Beautiful. Wonderful approach. So I can call up the chart that we need to look at here. I think it's still coming up, right? I hope so. I hope that wasn't the... I think that was the freaking taxiway, yeah. That was the exit I was supposed to take. Right? I don't know. What's this? This is a taxiway. Let's take it. I think it's this one, actually. I think it's this one. Yeah, no, this is the right one. Yeah, this is the right one. Right, it's Golf. Why is it not so clear on the chart? But yeah, I think this is the right one. I'm just going to come to a stop here. Clean up the aircraft, put everything on standby. Reset the trims. Flaps are up. Air separator can stay out. Pitot heat can come off. Outside air temperature is 16 degrees. Everything else is looking good. We can turn these guys off. Taxi lights, strobes. Okay, that's cool. Landing lights, cement. Okay. I believe this is what we're looking for. Yeah, Golf. There we go. Great, so our parking is to the left here on Whiskey. There it is. I think we might skip to the one at the end because it looks like the parking is quite full. Although we could have probably parked next to Jabiru. Welcome to Hamburg. Made it. Nice and rainy. So yeah, it's gonna either be the Neo or the Phoenix. I'm not yet sure. I haven't flown the Neo in a while. I don't know, something about the Neo I like. Slow it down for this turn. And we'll find a place to park here, maybe on the right. Let's turn off our taxi lights. Yeah, we'll claim this little space here on the right for us. Sure don't smack the wing into anything. Stay on the tarmac. Just, yeah, face direction. Why not? Parking brake is set. All the other lights are off except for the navigation light, which is fine. And that's it. Avionics can come off. Gyro is off. Pump off. And shut down. Feather the prop as well. Welcome to Hamburg. Nav lights off and crash bar. So, take maybe like a 20-minute, 30-minute break as I prepare for the next flight. It'll probably be in an airliner, probably an Airbus, probably the Neo. So it's going to take a little bit of time to plan. So excuse me for about 15 to 20 minutes. And I hope to join you in the next flight. It will be up towards Finland. I don't know. I'm still going to decide whether we're going to stop over at Copenhagen or if it will be a direct flight to Helsinki. It might be because I want to do 2 more flights once we're in Finland. They're going to be, I think they're handcrafted airports. I can't remember, or it might be freeware that I downloaded somewhere. Either way, they're slightly custom airport, plural. So there's one halfway up Finland, and then there's one right at the top of Finland. So yeah, I might do those in 2 different aircraft. We'll see. Maybe 1. I don't know. I still want to fly the F-28. Maybe I'll squeeze the 146 in there somewhere. And I kind of still want to fly the Royal Duke. We'll see. Catch you in about 20. Let's make it 20 to 30 minutes. See you then.